Have you got a story to share? A moment, an experience, something that happened that you believe that can help someone else? Well, my name's Jay from Journey of a Whitefeather, and I run a show live on Spotify and YouTube called A Chat with Jay. A chat with normal everyday people who have experienced heartache, joy, and love in their life, and they want to share it with you because they believe that their experiences can help someone out there. Become a guest, remove your mask, and tell your story, and always be the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Hey guys, this is Jay here, Journey of a Whitefeather, a chat with Jay, opinions and views, and this is, I'm telling you right now, this is one of the biggest episodes you're going to get from the Robin Hood effect. I've been talking about the Robin Hood effect, awareness, accountability, choice, freedom and voice, and you can't get any bigger in Australia, if not the world. This great man here that I met, probably I knew about him about 4 years ago, but having contact with this man and his knowledge and just the people he hangs around with is incredible. We're going to have a quick chat about it, and we're going to have a quick chat to him. He's going to go for some knowledge, but we're just going to talk some truths on this one, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tim, the guy with the hat. Beat the reset, and that's exactly what it means. Beat the reset. Think about it. Outside the square, Timmy, absolute pleasure. We're going to talk money, spirituality, and everything. Mate, an absolute honor. I had Sam on the other day. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, Jay, it's an absolute pleasure. And right back at you, you know, you're an absolute testament to your audience as well. Your work is outstanding, an incredible man, handsome man too, I hasten to add. And your book and your work and your dedication and your passion, I love it. I mean, I think energy attracts energy, like attracts like. And the second I laid eyes on you, I thought, no, this man's the real deal. So you just know energetically, you know, people can tell you anything they like, don't you think? And then you know energetically. So as soon as I felt your big bear hug arms around me, I thought this man's the real deal. You know, you can feel that energy. Do you sense that?
Absolutely, mate. I mean, I've been obviously I do a lot of spiritual work with regards to energetical, I guess, energy and guess obviously intuition, all those kind of things that we talk. I guess we put it under spirituality. Done a lot of work with regards to natural healing, wellness, but also astrology, all those things that we talk about that people go, oh, it's a bit woo-woo. But once you get into it, understand there is a connection, and we are earth beings, and we're understanding that this is where you come in. We are being taken away from the earth, my friend. And I think that what we've got, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to say, beat the reset, man. I cannot say this is like the Mutual Admiration Society, but it is because this man's trying to save you, and that's it. End the story. The knowledge I've gained from this man especially in the last years, Tim, I think you've really ramped it up in the last year, my friend. Do you want to give us a quick rundown? Because we're going to talk some really big issues, but do you want to give a bit of a plug about what you do, where you're at, where they can find you, and the information, and don't hold back. Be honest. And I know the man in the hat, he's always honest.
Yeah, well, you've listened to a few rants. I mean, I'm known for my rants on the Monday night on the Monday night. And well, who has beat the reset? I guess we came to the internet, we came to social media 3 years ago in the April of 22, just out of COVID, when the world was still reeling from the nonsense, of course, that somehow bats or Wuhan or I don't know who knew what was going on.
Yeah,
They've since admitted they lied. Surprise!
yeah, surprise.
Yeah, were you shocked, Jay, when you heard that?
No,
I was
absolutely
filing
not.
my nails. I think somebody came in and said they lied, and I went, Hey, listen, can you get me a scone? It's like I couldn't have cared less. But I mean, seriously, do we need to be told they lied? We kind of figured it out. Anyway, my channel started out of COVID, 2022. The first year I starved to death, which is what you do in socials. It's very hard on social media.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know, unless you're going to get naked and be a young girl dancing to music on TikTok. You're going to do it tough. Um, and Then the first year, at the end of the first year of Beat the Reset, no one was listening to my channel. I got to be honest. I was at the point where a lot of podcasters get to. It's like it's time to give it away. Been on socials for a year. Survived on cups of coffee, which of course had this buy me a coffee program.
Yeah,
And
coffee. Yep, heard of that one. Yep.
yeah, yeah. And people used to buy me coffees, and they used to think they were actually buying me coffee, which was really funny. They used to say, "Look, I hope you're okay with the caffeine." It's no, 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 guys. It's just a donation. It's a
Really? Are
donation program.
you serious?
Yeah, people were. Yeah, well, you know what people are like on socials, and there were people that thought I was. And then after a year, I finally attracted a brand partner who was interested in what I was doing. I didn't have a very big audience. But it was enough to, I guess, keep the lights on because I was ready to give Beat the Reset away. I thought it's not real. It's too much work. It was, as you know, how much work goes into socials, and
Absolutely, yeah, man.
it's really a trade-off between your sanity and whether you can actually keep it going. So I thought if I don't attract the brand partner and something doesn't change, I'm going to be gone. Now, the other thing I did is I wrote a book. I wrote a book very early on, and I
What's
feel
the name
like
of that book, mate?
I haven't got the book here. I'm actually not in Melbourne at the moment. I'm in Brisbane,
No,
but
probably he's in the. I'll just let you know he's in the secret studio of Beat the Reset Brisbane branch. What was the
Brisbane
first
branch,
Brisbane
secret
branch?
studio, and you can see people walking past in the background. So the
Exactly.
name of the
Watch
book
out
is
for the bat
called
signal.
the the things we were never told about money. Is my first book. I wrote it in the August. Oh, it was released in the August of 2022. And it was a very quick book. It was only around about 95 pages long, and it was enough to get my initial message out. I sold it on Amazon, and it's become bigger now than it was at the start. Because we've got a bigger audience now. And then I went along I got a brand partner and we went along for a little while and I started doing public speaking through 2023. And then in the August of 2023, once again, wrote another book. And this one was called The Great Asset Shift. And it was all about silver and the importance of silver historically as a trading asset, which is my number one favorite asset. Then I hobbled along for a bit longer and had a fallout with my brand partner, and we decided to part ways over a little bit of a disagreement on something. And then I, of course, met the fabulous Sam from Liberty Bullion, who I believe you had on your channel.
Oh, mate, did I what? Did I
And
what?
Sammy's amazing. Sammy is the real deal as well, and he's the kind of guy if you're ever going to go into battle, you want by your side. And he introduced me in turn to Bishop from Stormrake. And of course, then the business went vertical. So once Bishop from Stormrake came on board, who you've got to get on at some stage as
Oh,
well,
it's
I
happening.
imagine.
You're
But
first, then him.
yeah, look, it was, so then we went from having no dollars to turning over $100 million between when Bishop came on board to, well, we haven't done our final tax returns, but we're well north of 100 million now. And so in less than a year, we went from starvation to essentially people really came on board and started listening to us. And it was a lot of look. We've been shadow banned more times than most people have had hot dinners. The This is the same with currency and money. They've done the same thing. The same people did the same thing. They tricked you into. They took away, and this is where my second book came in. They took away your monetary system and they gave you currency, just like we lost our lost our health system to pharmaceuticals. Exactly the same. There's no difference. It's the same creatures doing the same thing. That this one, my particular contribution to mankind is in the monetary system, and we are in wealth systems. We're not in currency systems. And wealth, as you know, is a holistic journey. It's what we're doing right now. It's connection, it's spirituality, it's the way you feel about yourself, it's the way you see the world, it's the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you hold your shoulders back and your chin up, and and the mirror that you create. This is the wealth. aspect of what we do. And monetary is a simple thing. And for your audience, I'll simplify it very quickly. That monetary, if anything in the monetary system, it has to have a store of value over time. So if it can't store value over time, then it's not monetary. It's just that is it. In other words, I guess if you go to a pharmacist, if it can't make you better, then why the hell would you do it? So most of the pharmaceuticals, if not all of them, and I don't want to say too much about pharmaceuticals, but they're not great. And I don't think they're really designed to help you terribly much. But my point is with the monetary system, if you have no monetary wealth, then you have no wealth. It's just, it doesn't matter how you try to do this. The big question I get though is what are you talking about in terms of monetary wealth? Well, we really only have three assets. I mean, there's many more, but
Hmm.
we deal in gold, silver, Bitcoin. I mean, that fundamentally for the masses, that's what we're talking about. Everything else is debt. Everything else is dead. There is literally nothing else left after that, apart from fine art and collectibles and maybe something like platinum. Everything else is debt. Everything, real estate, stocks, bonds, cash in a commercial bank, superannuation. This is all debt. And most people, as you know, run around trying to live their lives in this debt system, trying to get ahead by saving more cash. How on earth can you get ahead saving something that went backwards by 18% last year? I have no idea. So you can't even say, you can't save it faster than it's collapsing. So, it's becoming worthless by the day. And if you keep doing it in time, you'll have no value left in your life. You'll just be stuck with this worthless garbage. So we transition people into monetary assets. It's really, that's the entire message we have for our client base is that you need to be in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And gold predominantly is the fundamental driver of all Western monetary systems. It is constitutionally,
Yep.
intrinsically, and historically the number one monetary asset. You only have to look in your constitutions where it says the words debt can only be extinguished using gold coin. It doesn't say debt can be extinguished with currencies. It says specifically gold coin. JP Morgan, 1912. The only true money is gold. Everything else is credit. That was his exact words. Only thing you can ever really have is that which is within your possession because governments cannot control that which is within your possession. They don't come door to door. They don't come knocking. They are centralized institutions. They are bureaucrats. They are men in dark suits and they have no interest in your welfare at all, but you have to have an interest in your welfare. If you are centralized, you have to imagine that your government is the spider in the middle of the spider's web. And the closer to the spider you get, it's not going to be good for you or your family, which is why the Beat the Reset family live not only on the outskirts of the spider web, but not on the spider web at all. Because you cannot be in any way. Now, there are five things that are controlled predominantly by these globalists, just so you're aware. And it's not just monetary, it is the educational system, it is the political system, the ecclesiastical system, which is largely your religions and churches, it is your health system, and it is your monetary system. They are the top five components that are controlled by the globalists. And you can see that because they've now, the UN, as a result of being lobbied by Klaus Schwab and his henchmen, have designed Agenda 2030, which sits on the wall of pretty much every university around the country. And you can see what Agenda 2030 is in a giant coloured wheel of sustainable goals. None of them benefit you or your family. You have to do what the farmers did. You have to do what the farmers did in 1933 during the gold confiscations in the US. Now, this is a story that people need to absolutely burn to brain. And it's a story that I generally only tell when I'm on the stage, on live stages. But I will tell this and I share this story that during the gold confiscations of 33, now that happened, guys, under Executive Order 6102, Fifth Amendment, Eminent Domain Clause of the United States Constitution, ratified in 1789 by the Founding Fathers. That is everything you need to know about the United States is written in the Fifth Amendment. Now, the Eminent Domain Clause, which happens to be, we also have one in Australia, which is Section 51, subsection 31 of the Australian Constitution, is an exact replica of eminent domain, Fifth Amendment of the United States. What these clauses give governments the power to do is to take anything and everything they want, provided they have two excuses. Well, they have to, not two excuses, they have to have two elements. They have to fulfill two things. One, they need a reason to take your stuff. And number two, they have to pay you for it. There you go. So if they walk up to you and say, we'd like to put a freeway right through the middle of your house, you will never, ever be able to mount a case against your government that could defend against that. There's not a court in the land. There's never been a case brought against the government under Section 51, subsection 31 that has succeeded. You lose it to the Crown. Now, the only other thing they have to do, apart from tell you they want it, is they have to, of course, have a reason for taking it, i.e., we want to put a freeway through your house. And the other one is they have to pay you for it. Now, in 1933, it was no different. Roosevelt said, we have to take your gold and silver because, hey, the US dollar's collapsed. The commercial banks are closed. By the way, he closed them on March 6th. And he couldn't allow the common man to keep trading with gold, because if the common man had continued to do that, he would have become more powerful than the Treasury. Now, the Treasury, not a good position for the Treasury. So the Treasury said, we've got to stop this immediately. So they confiscated gold March 5th, 33 under Executive Order 6102. They'd already closed the banks down a month earlier. And then they gave you 26 days to bring your gold back, or you would be charged with under terrorism laws of Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917, which you became a terrorist of the United States. This is how quickly your government turned on you. They said to you, all mums and dads who are now starving in the streets, living on a temporary medium of exchange issued by the Treasury. A temporary medium of exchange is what happens when there is no work, people have no work, the banks were closed, companies were shut down, and the government started handing out free cash because nobody had enough to eat. So, and the retailers were offering lines of credit to mums and dads for loaves of bread and things. The suicide rates are off the charts, but you can't read about that anymore because they've, of course, got rid of all the records. And this is what happens when your government decides that it's going to change things up a little bit. So they confiscated the gold. Now, this actually happened. And when they did that, they, of course, in only 9 months after that, they not only changed the price of gold, but they banned all trading of gold. So mums and dads and you and I, if we'd lived in those times, we couldn't have traded gold until the 1st of January 1975. So for 40 years, the common man was banned from trading gold. He could not trade gold at all. In fact, it was totally illegal to trade gold at the consumer level. So, but what I wanted to share with you is the important thing you need to know about how important it is to hold your assets. And this is why I say you need to hold your assets. You asked me about the biggest things I need to tell you here. Well, the biggest one is if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Somebody else probably owns it. So if you look in your commercial bank account and you think, who has that? Who owns that commercial bank account? You own it. You cannot, in any Western nation, if you give your cash to a commercial bank, breaking news, they own it.
Can I just cut in on that one? What they're doing. If everyone wants someone to look at, have a look at what the banks are doing these days and asking about people going in and going, "Excuse me, why are you taking out $1,000?" Asking you, it's your money, but as Tim says, is it really?
No, it is not yours. But it's never been yours, and it's the same.
That's right.
It's the same psychosis that people have with buying real estate. People think they own titles. There's no such thing. There's no such mechanism. I don't know where it comes from. Your title gives you zero ownership. How do we know that? Well, because it's overridden by an Australian constitutional amendment, which is Section 51, subsection 31. It's already overridden. How can you possibly say you own it and you have rights to this thing if somebody can tell you to knock it down in a heartbeat? So, and then, of course, we've got two other legislative acts which affect real estate, the Land Transition Act of 1958 and, of course, the Land Acquisition Act of 1986 and 89. So why on earth do we have an entire act that is dedicated to acquiring land? So you've got to understand that you've got to know what you own and what you don't own. Now, physical gold and silver are decentralized, they are commodities, and they are outside the jurisdiction of essentially the Treasury. The Treasury has no idea really how to handle gold and silver. And
Yep.
the reason you know that is because our own finance laws exempt gold and silver from being classified as financial instruments. Now, nearly everything you see and touch is a financial instrument in the monetary system, except for three assets. Number one, gold; number two, silver; and number three, cryptocurrencies. Now, they are not classified as financial instruments. They are classified as monetary assets. So they sit, especially Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that can be classified as monetary. The others, no. So I guess my point is that your government has very, very clear intent about keeping things close to the center of the spider's web. They need things in the middle of the spider's web. If you start to get to the extremities of the spider's web and you start challenging the system, especially if you drop off the spider's web, then they lose sight of you altogether, which is where I wanted to share this story about the farmers of
Go for it.
1933, because this is a critical story, Jay. And this is also goes to the heart of COVID as well. This goes to how you stand up to tyrannical governments.
This is
So
the farmers story of 1933, was it? Is that correct?
yeah, the farming story of 1933. So when Roosevelt called for the confiscation under executive order, what happened was you could hold up to 5 ounces of gold. That was it. And that was valued at $100 at the time because gold was trading at $20.67. So 5 ounces times 20 gave you $100. Now $100 could actually get you quite a bit back in 1933, believe it or not. But here's the problem. The government, of course, confiscated it by May the 1st, 2024. What am I saying? By May the 1st, 1933, you must have brought your gold back. Otherwise, you were in serious hot water under Trading with the Enemy Act. And of course, you would have been charged with terrorism. Now, the problem is the farmers. Now, you've got to understand that 1933, the landscape looked a little bit different. It was about 70% rural and about 30% urban. We've changed it totally around now. Now it's about 70%, 75% urban and maybe 20, 25% rural now. It's completely flipped in 2025. But in
Right.
1933, it was a huge rural districts. The farmers were very influential. So the thing about the United States is they had something called the Second Amendment, which you'd be aware of, Jay.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
The Second Amendment is really what the farmers took advantage of here. And they said to the government, they said to Roosevelt, there is no way we will be obeying your executive order. None at all. So the farming districts largely put the gold up the back of the barn and they said to Roosevelt, do what you need to do. So Roosevelt said, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, that you need to hand your gold back because you will be charged with terrorism and we will send in the military if we have to. And the farmers said, then send the military. Just send them because you may as well. And we'll be waiting. And of course, they double clicked the barrel and said, we're waiting. And of course, Roosevelt never turned up with his military. In fact, he did nothing, actually. He stood down and the farming districts still prevailed. So this is how you stand up to tyranny. I mean, the farmers basically, their argument was, if we give you the gold, our families are done for. Why? We may as well not even be here. So they said that then you come for this gold. And he never did. And I think this is an interesting testament to how you stand up to tyrannical governments, because governments are of the people, for the people. As soon as they're not of the people or for the people, then they're no longer governments. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but that's essentially by their own.
To take this time to shout out our supporters at Liberty Bullion, the best gold, silver, and platinum traders in Melbourne, even Australia. If you want to give them a call, their knowledge, their customer service is second to none. Back to the show.
That survive throughout history are monetary commodities that are decentralized. Anything that is outside the control of commercial banks and central banks, which is, of course, your physical gold and your physical silver. No one in Australia owns this stuff, guys. No one in this country owns gold and silver. No one. Less than 1% of people would have any physical gold. Go out into your city street and ask how many people own gold and silver. They'll look at you like you got 5 heads. And Bitcoin, again, most people think Bitcoin is a scam. Most people think Bitcoin's satanic. As I said yesterday on my channel, it's amazing how many people come up to me and say, oh, Bitcoin's satanic. And I say, have you seen a US dollar note lately? It's got a pyramid with an all-seeing eye on it. I mean, you tell me Bitcoin satanic? It's kind of a digital currency that's tradable anywhere in the world, decentralized, sovereign. We've now got a strategic Bitcoin reserve that Trump signed into life. So, guys, Bitcoin has done nothing other than go to the stars. I don't know why people would even argue with it. I mean, if you'd held US dollars since Bitcoin in 2009, if you held a US dollar with a Bitcoin side by side, you'd be a millionaire many times over with the Bitcoin, and you'd be bankrupt with the American dollar. And yet still people tell me, no, you're wrong, Mr. Guy in the Hat, but no one wants to look at the facts.